Hey there, it's Kate Swoboda, also known as Kate Courageous. I'm the creator of YourCourageousLife.com, the director of the Courageous Living Coach certification at TeamCLCC.com, and I'm the author of the book The Courage Habit, which is available at booksellers everywhere and, of course, at Amazon. I coach some pretty incredible women via the Sovereign Experience, which you can learn more about at YourCourageousLife.com. I do a little group coaching help over at facilitatewithimpact.com. And now I'm the host of a new podcast, the Your Courageous Life podcast. We're going to talk about going after what you want and living a more courageous, emotionally resilient life. I might drop a couple of F-bombs, so don't listen with your kids in the back seat. And here we go. Today's podcast is a piece on unhooking from illusions. Here it goes. I have sworn on so many occasions that I was ready to move on, that I was done, that I was through with the same old, same old. The truth of how willing I've been to change has revealed itself to me again and again at the moment when I was challenged to do something differently. Trust that you are abundant and can create more financial resources, they said. And I replied, what a bunch of spiritual new agey BS. You can't just imagine money into being. It's not that simple. I hate all that money mindset hogwash. Later, I would understand that I was having that reaction because I was not actually ready to unhook from illusion. No one was asking me to imagine that money would appear if I snapped my fingers, and no one was encouraging naivete about taking responsibility for my financial life. Rather, I was being asked to stop seeing myself as fundamentally lacking, fundamentally unable to create something different. You are the one who chooses your time. You are not a victim of how you choose to spend your time, they said. And I replied, but you don't understand my schedule. You don't understand all that I have on my plate. I have to da-da-da, and I have to da-da-da, and if I don't do da-da-da, then so many difficult things will happen. It's just not realistic to expect that I could take that off of my plate. The bills won't get paid if I take that off of my plate. There's no one else who can do it. Later, I would understand that response indicated I was not actually ready to unhook from illusion. No one was telling me that practical realities of time, bills, kids, laundry, jobs, etc., were supposed to be neglected. They were trying to tell me that I was creating my life as a prisoner of time, acting as if I wasn't the one putting each obligation on my plate. Was it me saying yes? Was it me signing up? Was it me who was unwilling to spend less so that I could work less? It was me. I made the choices among the available options. Different choices don't always get us better options. Sometimes the only options are shitty options. But at the very least, I was always in choice around how I wanted to regard the circumstances. I wanted to live a happier life, I said. And they said, notice how you frame the circumstances, especially the difficult ones. Is life just a string of bad things happening to you? Or can you find a way to learn something from or become motivated to take action around, even during the most difficult of times? And I replied, that's so Pollyanna. That's spiritual bypass. That's pretending as though real people don't suffer in real ways. Get a clue. Be realistic. Stop pretending that awful things don't happen to people, all while trying to put a cutesy little affirmation on it. Later, I would understand that I was not actually ready to unhook from illusion. No one was saying that I was supposed to slap an affirmation on life's challenges, or spiritually bypass my way through them to avoid taking action. People were only ever asking me to see that life had not personally singled me out to suffer, and that no human being ever escapes suffering, and that when we suffer, we can use those experiences as our training ground to find happiness, or we can marinate in feeling bad about them until we are sodden and overcooked. I was only being asked to consider that if I said I wanted to be happier, right here and right now was as good a time to start as any. I had the most trouble unhooking from illusion because I wanted to be right. To be right about how impossible it was to change my life would prove that all that time suffering had not been for nothing. At the time that I pushed away any suggestion that I could feel more in control of my time or my money or my happiness or my relationships, my friendships, my health, my spiritual connection, my place in the world, and so many other things, I didn't just want to be right. I needed to be right. It was an ego thing. If you need to be right about the way you were or have been doing things, you will never be free. If you want to unhook from illusions, you've got to be open to unhooking. You've got to actually want to reroute your way of thinking, to orient yourself to something healthier. You've got to want your freedom, even though it will expose those years that you were a fool. You've got to love the you that you were when you were a fool. Confronting our own foolishness isn't comfortable, but it is survivable. Ego will tell you that it's not survivable, that you will never recover from the shame of having been so wrong all these years, so you might as well keep doing things the way you've been doing them. That idea, too, is an illusion. When people tell you that it's possible to feel good about your time or your money or your health or your relationships or your friendships, or when they say that it's possible to find some meaning in pain or that change is within your grasp, take care not to reject them outright. Take care not to write them off. Take care not to argue for your own death sentence, because your freedom awaits. If you want to get more of where that came from, head on over to yourcourageouslife.com/begin. I'm also on Instagram as Kate Courageous. And coming up soon, the Sovereign Experience. You can learn more about that by going to yourcourageouslife.com and scrolling down until you see the link to the Sovereign Experience. That's where we're getting into a lot of this unhooking from illusion. It's kind of tricky. Needs some in-depth work. I've been there many a time, and I return to go there with a lot of practices that keep me grounded and that I'm excited to share with all of you. As always, I love doing this podcast and hearing from people. You can connect with me by heading to any of the places where I hang out online, and most specifically in the private Courage Habit Facebook group. Search for Courage Habit on Facebook and you'll find it. See you there.